problems. That guy, he just has to touch you once.
Shit's going down.
He's so different than anybody else in the division. Like, he knocks everybody out. Everybody hits hard. They all hit hard.
But that
dude hits hard.
Robert, oh, sorry, when you're done.
Yeah, so then one to the eye, Robert. Okay.
Yeah.
Answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul, it's, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls Royce, Fiat.
Joe Rogan is known for speaking his mind, and his latest reaction has shocked the combat sports world. While discussing Anthony Joshua training with members of Oleksander Usyk's camp, ahead of the Jake Paul fight, Rogan questioned the logic behind it. On his podcast, he broke down how strange it is to see elite heavyweight champions involved in preparations for a fight centered around entertainment and spectacle, rather than pure competition. Rogan's mix of doubt, respect, and blunt honesty instantly got fans talking. People are now wondering what this unusual training setup really means, not just for Jake Paul, but for boxing as a whole. The conversation has sparked debates about where the sport is heading and how seriously this fight should be taken.
Chance that Anthony Joshua is not going to just lose the weight beforehand. He's not going to come in drained. What he's going to do is just do extra cardio, and that's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry.
Instead of training in the UK with his usual team and trainer Ben Davison, Anthony Joshua revealed a surprising decision. At a recent press conference, he confirmed that he would prepare alongside members of Usyk's team for the December 19th fight in Miami. Joshua called the experience challenging and valuable. He made it clear that while Usyk himself isn't sparring him every day, the influence of his camp is playing a major role in his preparation.
To find the belief in yourself, not in somebody else's system. You know what I mean? It's like Usyk's team might show him bits and bats of stuff. He doesn't box like Usyk. Can they train AJ to be similar to what Usyk's doing? AJ, you've got to pick out the best of what AJ does, and you've got to pick out the worst and improve the worst in him. And I'll say it time and time again. For me, the best trainer he ever had was Robert McCracken. It might not be what people want to hear, but he had him from the stages in the amateurs, from being a young mind, brought him through, guided. He had a good view of what the competition was out there, where to put him, where to maneuver him, when to take fights, when not to take fights. And he'd invested a lot of time in him, Robert McCracken. So it was the payoff. Now when you go to, if AJ came here or he goes to Ben Davison, or you're going to be in for a big payday as a trainer. It's a lot of responsibility to take on. Ben Davis is a good trainer. He's trained AJ for so many fights, brought him back. He'll have got paid handsomely. Everybody wants to train AJ because it's a good payday. But sometimes you have to think to yourself, are you capable of training that fighter? People have come to me wanting me to train. I said, to be honest, we're not going to match. What I want to do and what I want you to do is not going to work. So I just think AJ is looking for that.
Training with experienced coaches from Usyk's camp, Joshua is sharpening every part of his game. Observers say he is fully locked in on improvement, from footwork and timing to combinations and defense. Joshua is testing different techniques in a structured and disciplined environment. The sparring partners are carefully selected to create realistic fight scenarios, keeping him sharp and focused. With fight night approaching, every session matters physically and mentally. This camp shows Joshua understands that success in boxing comes from constant evolution and detailed preparation.
He's trying to rediscover a little bit of that confidence. He's gone to Oleksander Usyk, where we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul, isn't it?
It is, but it's not unheard of. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, it's the old Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and doing little bits together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm travelling, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine, where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously after the Usyk fight, he'd come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition
Well, yeah,
job.
Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helene, he had Otto Wallin, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where what you've just said then, Spencer, like match him right. I felt he was match right with Dubois. That's just my opinion.
Just thought
obviously I was wrong on that and I was proved wrong, but I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board, and where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to get an out and get back to winning ways is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8 rounders.
Yeah.
He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such
Very
a
much so.
commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He always will be in shape. He's never, ever not been.
But it's not about his
dedicated.
physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Oleksander Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted.
Even though Joshua is not regularly sparring Usyk, he has fully immersed himself in the Ukrainian champion's training system. He is learning from elite coaches who helped Usyk become a 2-time undisputed heavyweight champion. Joshua has said this experience gives him insight into a fighter who has achieved greatness. He believes this knowledge will help him prepare for Jake Paul's unique and unpredictable style.
To that camp just for Jake Paul, because he could have gone to fucking my camp to beat Jake Paul.
AJ's been in camp with Usyk.
Take this seriously for it to get fucked off at the final minute.
What better camp to go join than the master himself?
What he's doing is he knows that he's got, 1, maybe 2 years left, maybe 2 years. So he's gone to the Usyk camp. There's motivation behind that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You're not going to that camp just for Jake Paul, because he could have gone to fucking my camp to beat Jake Paul. But he's going to that camp for the future of next year, where he could be fighting Dubois.
Conor McGregor shared a blunt and serious opinion on the fight. He warned that the Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup is extremely dangerous and suggested that it might not even be a good idea for the fight to happen. McGregor described Joshua as a powerful former world champion with deep experience. While he respects Jake Paul for taking on the challenge, McGregor made it clear that the physical risks are very real. He added that if Jake truly commits, he deserves respect, even though the fight itself raises major concerns. UFC President Dana White did not hold back either. He strongly criticized the fight.
Yeah, knocked out by AJ, though, wasn't he?
If he makes that walk, we've got to give him his respect with that. It's very dangerous, you know. It seems like Netflix are all over him. So again, it's a dangerous sport, and you can't overlook that. And Joshua's a big boy and a powerhouse. I've sat ringside and watched Joshua. That's a heavy punching man. And he's a happy and he's a good kid. He has an anger in him. He has a darkness in him, does Anthony Joshua. And I don't think a lot of people trust that. So, the fight shouldn't go ahead. In my opinion, the fight shouldn't go ahead.
Calling it a mismatch that hurts the integrity of boxing. White questioned how a former heavyweight world champion could face a YouTuber turned boxer in a professional bout. His comments sparked heated debates online. Some fans see the fight as smart business, while others believe it turns boxing into a spectacle. White warned that prioritizing fame over skill could set a dangerous example for the future of the sport. Professional boxer Liam Cameron spoke about how the public views the fight.
The heel, the villain, I could be a jackass, I could shit talk, I could be investor, businessman, CEO, boxer, whatever it is. You know the drill. The current state of modern entertainment, you got to do it all. You got to play across the board and be good at all these things. But, I've been in this game for 12, 13 years now, and I've seen a lot of people fall by the wayside, but me and my brother have just worked hard and been super calculated and know what we're doing in this space.
I think the work ethic is obviously absurd, and you guys are a couple of Ohio fucks at your core, so we have massive respect for that. But obviously talent and having to understand where the world is going is a forethought that not a lot of people have in history. You're a trailblazer, you know that. Now let's get to your boxing career. You've been very, very, very upfront about how you want to be a world champion. You focus your entire life to boxing, it seems. We've seen you in other eras and chapters of your life where you're doing a lot of things. Then you turned your focus focus fully to boxing. You said boxing saved your life. You fell in love with it. Now you're taking on a guy who has done the same thing with boxing for most of his life. He has loved it. He has invested in it. He has fought the greats. He's been in the biggest fights. He's been champion. I think a lot of us were very surprised that this would be happening. How do you feel just a few days out? And what went into the decision to fucking fight Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, look, to me, I see a lot of paths to victory in his style, and styles make fights. We all know that. He's lost to guys who are shorter mostly and lighter mostly, and faster than him. I see holes in his game.
He said most fans expect Joshua to dominate because of his Olympic background and years of professional experience. Some viewers may even enjoy a one-sided fight that clearly shows the difference in skill. However, this expectation puts serious pressure on Jake Paul to prove himself. He will need to show adaptability, toughness, and growth under the brightest spotlight of his career.